Well, it's not very often that talk about politics, but it's mostly a sports channel that I do. However, this particular issue, I'm definitely going to say ties in both sports and politics here, and try to be careful and choose my words what to say here. But this is definitely my take and opinion on the whole Don Cherry situation here, and I just can't believe that he ultimately got fired for this statement here that got him fired from CBC Sportsnet, which is the main employer, because he's always known for being on Coach's Corner, and they broadcast it on CBC here. But I mean, people seem to act like this is like the first thing that time that he's first said something that, oh, that's it. He crossed the line here. I mean, this guy, he's definitely very entertaining. He's definitely proud and brash here, and you could definitely say he's old school. I mean, well, heck, he's 85 years old, and I gotta still say he's in pretty good shape to be an 85-year-old for going on national television to talk hockey, praise how players play the game, and but mostly he definitely is known for all his outbursts and outlandish remarks here. But I'll find the quote here that this is ultimately the quote that raised this whole issue here. I'll try to do my big cherryism here, but on November 9th, 2019 here, that they happened to be on a Saturday here, where the Coach's Corner was on, and it also happened to be 2 days before Remembrance Day, which is the day we take time to remember all those who have served or serving and ultimately paid the ultimate price, so we can enjoy our freedoms and that here in Canada and have a great way of life and be able to have our own pins here. And Don Cherry, he definitely was a very, very strong supporter of our military here. So it's definitely kind of a shot in the guts here, in my mind, on when he ultimately was fired on the Monday on Remembrance Day. As I'm gonna say, that's like a huge shot. I mean my other comparisons here, just to make a point here. That's like firing Santa Claus on Christmas Day, or giving the Easter Bunny a rabies shot on Easter here. But it says, "You people that come here, you love your way of life, you love our milk and honey. At least you can pay a couple bucks to buy a poppy or something like that. These guys paid for the way of your life to enjoy in Canada, and these guys paid the biggest price." That's kind of my best Don Cherryism as I was reading here. So yeah, that was the quote. You people that come here. Ultimately, that apparently crossed the line. Where it's like, oh, that's it. He said all this. He bashes. I mean, he was also known for bashing European players for not, being tough and taking away Canadian jobs and players who were advisors. And even just last year, he called the Carolina Hurricanes a bunch of jerks, where they did their outlandish celebrations there after they won games at home there, and suddenly the Carolina Hurricanes, got on a roll there. And I mean, Don Cherry's definitely an old school guy. That hockey definitely was a much different game back when he was playing with the Hershey Bears. He briefly played one game in the NHL with the Boston Bruins there, but he was head coach of the Boston Bruins, and briefly with the Colorado Rockies, where that franchise has now become the New Jersey Devils. So he definitely took that heart to heart there, but he definitely is a Canadian icon. He definitely showed his character with his suits and that, but I just can't believe I support what he said, because I believe that And he was basically saying in general here that when he said "you people," he meant everybody, not just immigrants or people that have come here. He talks about everybody to raise awareness that the fact that there were fewer people wearing poppies and leading up to Remembrance Day, and it's a symbol to show that we remember. And at store counters here, although slowly the Royal Canadian Legion that runs this, and all the money that they raise from sale of poppies, and it's just just a nominal amount they put in, and you get a poppy, and that money goes to our veterans who served, and definitely a worthy cause to give them assistance here. And their poppy campaign starts from the end of October right up to Remembrance Day there. However, not everyone carries cash on them, so it makes it a little tougher to just grab a poppy, but you can always just grab a poppy. But he definitely is saying that putting that to awareness that everybody should definitely, who's here in Canada, should definitely appreciate the values and appreciate all those who pay their ultimate price here. I mean, right after he said that rant there, another thing that he's proudly, showing that he supports our military there is that there was a scene of him at Vimy Ridge there in France there, which is definitely one of the biggest battles that the Canadians had in World War II there. He was standing in a grave site, and it showed all the grave sites of all the Canadian soldiers that, paid the ultimate price there. And Cherry in his subdued tone was talking about, remember this when you buy a poppy here. But, I mean, I just can't believe this is what ultimately got him fired. This definitely also shows that there's a lot more divisive issues, and definitely a lot more divisive with the left and right here, and it's definitely the left. They're crying like snowflakes about having their feelings hurt and everything, being offended. I mean, on social media now these days, it seems like everybody's offended about everything here. I mean, you have to wonder. I mean, apparently the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council, received so many complaints that they couldn't receive anymore because there were so many about what Don Cherry said. I mean, now he says if he said he could go back and change it, I mean, he would have said everybody. I don't know if that would still change anything. I mean, a few people I know, especially some that have come overseas, that they knew what he meant. That when he said "you people," about everyone who enjoys life, and that's what I also remember growing up in school. That to remember stays for, and that's what these people, serve for us to, so we can have a peaceful society and have our own opinions here. But it's definitely a shame that that's ultimately come down. I mean, the other piece of this too is that Don Cherry definitely co-hosts with Ron MacLean there, and Ron MacLean sometimes interjects and adds to the conversation, or sometimes tells Don, "No way." There was definitely a sign. There was definitely scenes of him. He looked like he was frozen there and had that look as Don Cherry was saying that quote there about the "you people" there, and Ron MacLean could have potentially said something. I know then the next night there, part of Rogers, where they had the hometown hockey on the Sunday night there, and Ron MacLean hosts that, and definitely said his few pieces there and sort of apologize about everything there. But I think this just shows the state of the society in, and I definitely don't like where things are going now, because it's getting to the point that yes, we have a free society here, but at the same time it seems like that now we can't express ourselves without worrying about offending somebody. And I have to say, this is not the first time Don Cherry has said anything that would raise ires. I mean, he always bashed Europeans and Russians and how they played. I'm talking about his hockey, how they played in hockey. That he always was a proponent for being tough and fighting back. I mean, that's what his Rock'em Sock'em videos all glorified. That all the fighting and rough stuff that's in hockey that is slowly shifting in more way towards the more speed, skill, and finesse here. That I mean, that's definitely what's changed in the game today. And I mean, you gotta wonder where society's going. I mean, they're gone are the days where you can fight as much and cross check and plan your games around that. But I mean, he's what I also like to call someone who's a funny cranky, like an older person that's always speaks their mind. That's an old funny cranky person. And I mean, I used to work in a big box store where I worked with some older stereotypical ladies that our grandparents who are just working there because they have nothing else better to do, or made add a few cents to their household here. But there was definitely a few funny cranky people that always speaks their mind. And I also spent some time with my grandparents when some of them are still around at coffee, where they always have speak their minds. And I support what Jerry says. I knew exactly what he said there, and unfortunately it's the end of an era if indeed it's done, because you can't really replace Coach's Corner with someone else, because ratings are really going to started to take a dive now, because more or less people are going to watch, because there were people that watched and wanted to know what he was going to say. I mean, there's many things that he always likes to promote players that stick up. I mean, maybe most recently with some scuffs that happened, he always credits players how they stick up, but then he always bashes players that sometimes have dirty hits on the line that injure players. But I mean, I just can't believe it. It was ranting about poppies and Remembrance Day, and people who should know what it meant, that he was all upset that not enough people, apparently in Toronto, but in Ontario, and I apparently heard that this past year, Remembrance Day, that where I am, more people wear poppies than anywhere else in the country compared to elsewhere. I don't know how you come up with that. Do you just count? But I mean, he was definitely unceremoniously let go in my mind, and I just can't believe that was it. I mean, he said outrageous things over the years. I mean, eventually they put a 7-second delay on him in the past because of the things they said. I mean, we're obviously going to miss his rants, miss his takes on hockey and his old stories, and obviously all the suits he wore. And apparently he does actually go to Fabricland to pick out a suit and takes it to his tailor, and that's how he gets those suits. And then of course, remember when Most Canadian had a Bubba commercial there, and you can find that on YouTube, where there was three Bubba commercials with the same group of guys. One of them was, "Hey guys, I found some meat," and it was like, that one was, "Hey guys, look what the neighbors throw." They threw an old organ, and then the last one was like, "Hey guys, look who I ran into," and he ran into Don Cherry, and everyone was all chanting beer, wearing their suits like Don Cherry, and give a thumbs up like that. But I give a thumbs up for that. I support Don Cherry, what he said, and unceremoniously let go. But fortunately, there's just too many people in my mind that are on the left that probably aren't hockey fans that really complained, because I was not offended. I wasn't kicking my table over and pounding Rogers and CBC and say, "Oh, that's it. I've lived with Cherry through all these years, ups and downs," and I took that. I was like, really? But no, that crossed the line. That wasn't me. I think also the other piece of this is that with Rogers having the hockey contract with the NHL there, Rogers has definitely been losing money here the last couple of years, and actually this past year here, a lot of prominent employees from Sportsnet have been let go. I know Bob McCown in Toronto there, and I think he's another guy. I live in Calgary, but sometimes that show used to be on the primetime sports, and I know he always wore his glasses indoors. That was his trademark, and always wore dark clothes there. But I think he was also another guy that spoke his mind. Obviously talked Toronto sports, but sometimes if there was nothing else on in the middle of the afternoon and you were home, that Bob McCown, I mean, he was let go and he made pretty good money. And then Nick Kiprios, Doug MacLean were also, let go there. Long-time employees there. And John Shannon, I believe also. Yeah, those were long-time Rogers employees that were suddenly let go here. So I think the other piece was that Don Cherry was probably one of the highest paid employee on the payroll there. And there's people are supposedly pissed off, and what he said crossed the line here. So this was an excuse to let him go because we're losing money on this TV deal anyway. So it's our way to cut costs here. But you hear a lot of people saying that they're cutting their subscription and a lot of protests and not watching anymore. So this is just my various opinions here, but I can't believe that this is what ultimately got him fired. I mean, he was getting up there in the years, and there was going to be a day where eventually it was going to end, but it's just too bad it ended like this, and I think he didn't deserve what he got to him, and the fact that he was fired on Remembrance Day, which definitely, I think that's kind of also a punch in the gut for the whole situation and on him. It's almost like they did that on purpose, that it was on that day, one of the days that he's proudly for. And then the other thing that when I say he was also a huge supporter of the military there, he also criticized Canada for not right away supporting the Operation Iraq back in 2003, and then when we had our mission in Afghanistan there in the War of Terror, he always showed the military, and he proudly showed it. And I believe he also went to the Royal Military College because he's from Kingston, Ontario there. But it's definitely disappointing. It's the end of the era, and we're never going to have that same show again here. And I just say we live in a society now that we can't seem to say anything, even remotely our own opinion, without someone being offended. But it's too bad here, and this is my various takes and opinion. And with some videos I make, it does go in more in one playlist here, but this is definitely one of those videos where sports and politics mix, and not always, I have to say, it should go together here, but this all to me is a political issue, why this happened, and it cost us one of our Canadian icons here. And I'm going to think more hockey fans, I think, support than not support it. And I don't know what it is. It's just, I look at that quote and it's like, that was it. If you remember 30 years ago with the original Winnipeg Jets, there used to be a Finnish assistant coach with the name Alpo, and he compared that to dog food. Social media existed 30 years ago, and people are like what they are now. Don Cherry would have not lasted almost 40 years in coach score here, but I say ultimately I support what he said, and it's baffling that this was what costed him his post there. And you even saw, the other thing that hits me, to close this out, is City TV is also known by Rogers here, and there was a clip of him where it was City TV in Toronto that was interviewing Don Cherry in his on his driveway there, and he did say he would have said different words, probably said everybody instead of you people. And he said if he wished he had a chance to apologize, and no one told him to apologize. It wasn't until the next day you heard all this fallout, and then, he was breaking down. Almost trying not to break down. If you see that video clip on, that the coach's corner is just taken away from him, and he's still in pretty good shape for 85 years old. Turns 86 in February, and he still lives independently, and goes on TV to proudly say his pieces and do that in front of national television. And some other people also say he's kind of your typical, I call it old, funny, cranky person. Some people also say he's just your typical, partially racist grandfather. And I definitely compare he's in good shape for almost turning 86 here in a couple months, because I don't have both of my grandfathers anymore, and one lived to be almost 91 years old, but when he was turning 84, 85, he and his grandmother and my grandmother need to move to an assisted living facility, so I don't think at 85 he would have been in shape to continue going on national television to speak his mind. And my other grandfather didn't even make it to 85, and he definitely wouldn't have been in any shape closer to that to do the same thing here. But that's my take opinion. I think he shouldn't have gotten fired. I support what he said. I knew exactly what he said, and he said outrageous things over the years here. So it's like, ultimately, it's all that. It's that got him fired. I also used to listen to the Jim Rome show, and sometimes Jim Rome just kind of jokes where he said something, and then he kind of jokes like, "Oh, that's it. I listened to you for 10 years. I've gone through this, gone to that, but that cross line. But this is exactly what that is." But I just don't like how side's going, or am I getting to that age that am I getting to that age where I'm starting to say that? And I'll eventually be a personal vlog on that on my YouTube channel. But I think that's it. I pretty much said everything I could possibly said on this topic here. I've got the big ones covered. I support him, and can't believe it. That's what got him fired, and they're here. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, I mostly talk Calgary sports, and also, I did, sometimes my only other political videos was I just recap what happened at the 2019 Alberta election, and I recapped what happened at the 2019 federal election here, and definitely have had a lot of feedback on that, and thanks for all that. And this is definitely a sports and politics video put together here, and I know I still have my Hitman jersey on from when I just did my latest episode of my Calgary Hitman at 6 here, but actually there was one game in the WHL. It was definitely Don Cherry was a proponent of growing the game and started at the grassroots level there, but actually the Calgary Hitman had some Don Cherry night games, and they had Don Cherry themed jerseys that you may see at some odd games, and who knows, maybe you see a little more of them now at the Hitman games given this recent event here. But it definitely is a proponent of that. But this is, at the end of the day, it comes down to a left versus right issue, and it seems like the divide is getting wider and wider and wider, especially when we have the left or center left in charge in here. But I gotta put an end to this rant here, and sort of rant in my opinion on this whole thing. But anyway, that's just my opinion, my take, and that's what these soldiers have served, so I can have the right to have an opinion and express myself and have my political views. But I'll see you in the next video, and it won't be likely not as controversial or on a topic that wasn't as controversial or polarizing here. So I'll see you in the next video.